You mentioned Ronnie there and Killing the Dragon. I mean, what was it like being in the studio with Ronnie then? What was his energy like, and what was his voice like up close?
Well, he was his powerful. His voice was pure power. I mean, he just sang like a bird. His pitch was always perfect. He would just do, you know, sometimes singers will, we were doing that on Pro Tools. So there was a transition where when you're singing on a piece of tape and tape machine, old school recording, you had to sing it, 3 or 4 times, and you had to sing it good so that they could build a composite vocal out of that. With Pro Tools, anybody could sing 2 or 3 times, and then they could take the best bits, and then they could auto tune it and stretch it and put it in time and do all this stuff. But Ronnie didn't have to do any of that stuff, man. He just sang. He would sing the song once, and then the engineer would say, like, okay, let's go grab, what do you think? Or he would ask Ronnie, what do you think? And Ronnie would go, let's grab this line. Let me redo that one. And he'd punch in and do it. It would be just like he was recording on tape, but, he didn't need all that technology. And then his energy in the studio was exciting, man, for me. I mean, never forget, the first day I rolled up, I opened my truck and I was getting ready to pull out an amplifier, and this big road crew on Ronnie's road crew comes up and goes, "Hey, don't touch that amp. You're our guitar player. You can't be lifting anything like that anymore. That's my job." I'm like, okay. And immediately I felt like I was part of a family, and Ronnie was super excited to see what I would do with the songs. He would basically sit with his back to me, and he'd have these glasses on, and he'd be doing crossword puzzles all day long, just doing. And then I'd be playing, and I'd go, "Ronnie, what do you think about that?" And he'd be like, "What?" And I'd be like, "That part." He goes, "Let me hear it." And he would go, "I love it. Sounds great, mate. And whatever." And then he might have a suggestion. Like, I think mostly with my rhythm guitar playing, he was pretty much. I don't even remember him making any comments other than that he liked it a lot. And then there was sometimes with solos and stuff where he might say, like, "I want you to really make this." He would inspire me. He would say, like, "Richie used to do this and this and this." And just him telling the story would inspire me. And then, it just made you play better.
You mentioned Richie there. Did he ever tell any wonderful stories about his time with Richie Blackmore and Rainbow?
He told a few stories. And Jimmy Bain was in the band at that time. Jimmy was a big part of the Dio sound, as everyone knows. I mean, Jimmy co-wrote a lot of that stuff with Vivian as well, and Vinny. But Jimmy was definitely a really talented bass player. And Ronnie told stories that Richie used to kind of terrorize Jimmy a little bit, like play tricks on him and stuff. And one of them was pretty brutal, like a really scary trick involving fire, but it was all in, Richie's sense of humor. And then there was one time when they were working, he was talking about they were working on Long Live Rock and Roll, the album Long Live Rock and Roll. And they went and did a seance, like with Ouija board. I don't know if you heard, what a Ouija board is?
Yeah.
So they were doing a seance, and some spirits took over it was a shot glass they were using instead of whatever the Ouija piece is. And it started to move by itself. And Ronnie you could see him getting chills telling the story. It was like, it was real. And it was basically because the spirit that they were communicating with wanted to talk to Blackmore, and Richie wasn't there, so the spirit was the spirit was upset. "Where's Blackmore?"
Oh, funny. I was speaking to Tony Carey recently, who's on the Rising record, and he was saying pretty much the same sort of thing. He was terrorized by Richie at times, and the seances and things like that were involved as well.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I never spoke of that with, with any of the other Rainbow guys or Dio guys. That was just something that Ronnie mentioned one time, and it was pretty spooky. And he told me that he never ever did a Ouija board after that. It was, And then it's interesting, just this is off topic totally, but during the 2020 pandemic shutdown, all that stuff, I basically took that opportunity I was stuck at home, so I took that opportunity to do some construction at my house, and I had to move to another house I rented, and this lady, she's like, I got furniture, you don't need anything, just you guys can come stay here, here's the rent, whatever. And I was looking in a closet to put my son's clothes, and I found a Ouija board, and I was like, oh shit. And I carefully took it. I think I might have took it with a blanket and put it on the top of it. Took it, put it out in the garage, and just walked away. I don't want anything to do with that fucking thing.